Okay. All right.
Given the time delay, do you want to make a start now?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone out there on internet land, and thank you again for joining us for our latest episode 3 of Let's Talk Board Games. We are Diary of a Lincoln Geek, and of course, we're here to have a talk about board games and games in general, because that's what we love, because we are Lincoln Geeks. Welcome everyone that's hopefully joining us today. I'm going to be quickly going over some of our sponsor information. For any of you who aren't already aware, our official sponsor is byfullbodyarmors.com. They have produced some amazing cosplay suits that are actual full body armor. Check them out. And if you like going to order one, make sure you use that all-important hashtag DOALG for an exclusive discount. So without further ado, shall we crack on with today's show? So who are we? We're DOALG, i.e. Diary of a Lincoln Geek. I am Mr. Chris, the founder.
And you got Georgie O, the rules lawyer.
And I'm Dan Leakey. I'm the other founder.
Yes.
And I'm Gregor, and I'm really thrilled that I sent in a really flattering picture of myself.
That does look amazing
for this episode.
That's great. Brilliant.
I have a contender for silliest photo. It's great.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Gregor.
It's no longer my photo where I look like some, fitness emo. And of course, we have also got a very special guest joining us today on the show. We have the designer of Dogodash, Talita Rhein. Hi, Talita.
Hello.
I don't know whether we've lost her for the moment or whether she's just staying quiet until her section later, but I'm sure we can just crack on and move on with the show. Hopefully, she'll
welcome.
Yes, welcome.
If you can hear us.
Yes, welcome if you can hear us. So we'll be having a chat with her about her game that's currently still running with 12 days to go with a Kickstarter. But we're going to be talking about the game and her general experience about Kickstarter. So without further ado, we will crack on and go on to today's show and what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about a recently funded Kickstarter game called Valhal. It's arrived. I have it here. I'm very excited to talk to you guys about it. Dan, what are you going to be talking to us about?
Well, I've been hanging around in digital board game land again. Not much choice these days, really. So I've been going through some of my old favourite games and see what they're like in the virtual world. And this last few weeks, I've been playing Dead of Winter.
Great,
on
brilliant.
TableTop Simulator.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we'll get an insight into that. Mr. Giorgio.
I've also been, pardon me, exploring the world of digital emulators for board games with the very conveniently given early access to the Fury of Dracula digital edition. So hopefully it will live up to the same high expectations I had of the original board game. If you haven't already seen that from the review on the website, www.doalg.co.uk.
Nice plug.
Yeah, always a nice plug. And I will just go a very quick call out to Nomad Games for that, because they are the ones who have given us the early access, and we're really excited to really review it and watch out for a live stream gameplay of us playing that multiplayer within the coming weeks, hopefully, before they release on the 12th of November. And Gregor.
Yes, I'm not talking about a digital game.
Get out! It's the future.
I'm talking about a proper board game. No, I'm not gonna do that gatekeeping stuff. It's not worth the hassle. I'm going to be talking about Ticket to Ride Japan and Italy, which for some reason gets less space on the box.
There you go. That's brilliant. Wonderful. So without further ado, shall we see who's first up in the line? Mr. Dan, it's you.
I win,
yes.
I suppose.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, my game of the month is one of my favourites, which doesn't see the table as often as I'd like. Dead of Winter. I don't know if any of you guys have played it.
I've not played it.
I have played it, yes.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I played
like
the
it.
board game version.
Well, if you guys know me, which I'm sure you do, I'm quite a fan of the social deduction board games, Hidden Traitors, the loyalty games, and this is a pretty good example, really. I would consider it kind of a medium length game. I know we always talk about the Fable length, Fable Battlestar Galactica, which probably takes about 3 or 4 hours, I find. Well, this one takes about 1 to 2 hours, so it's usually a little bit more accessible than Battlestar. It's one of my faves because I quite like the theme and the fact that everybody has their own conflicting loyalties. There's not just one bad guy. In fact, everyone has to be slightly selfish to win their own personal objectives. So it's usually a lot of fun. You're faced with a lot of tough decisions. You got zombies everywhere. You need to basically work together, but only to a degree, because you never know completely who you can trust. I've played the Tabletop Simulator version, which was actually very good. I was very surprised with how good quality everything is, really. I'm sure there's some bad versions out there as well, but I've definitely found a good one. And yeah, it's just a general good game all around. It's produced some quite really funny moments. I suppose my favorite aspect of it really is the secret agendas, because everyone's working together for a common goal. Most people, anyway. There's one betrayer, but most people want the colony to survive, so they've got that objective. They've got the mission objective, which can vary depending on what campaign you want to play. And then you've got your own personal objectives. So you can play as someone that's kind of selfish, like they're basically hoarding all the food to themselves, even though the rest of the people are starving. You've got people that are more aggressive. They want all their little gang to have guns and all that kind of thing. It's all designed to make you look a bit more shifty to cover for the actual betrayer of the game.
Yeah.
Who is someone that wants the whole colony to fail. And it's... again, it's just a really fun game. I don't know if what your guys' opinion on it. George, you said you played, did you?
I've not played it, but I've seen a playthrough of it from Tabletop. But I do have a question for you, because it was something I've never really understood with it. Are you actually forced to have a traitor in it, or is it like one of these ones where you don't actually know if there is a traitor or not?
No. It's actually quite unlikely for there to be a traitor, because I think you get it's a number of players times 2. That's the number of non-traitor loyalty cards that go in there. And then you get 1 betrayer card in there. And then you shuffle it up. So you've only really got a slightly less than a 50% chance of actually ever being a traitor in the game, which is quite funny when no one's actually a traitor, but you're still killing each other and all that kind of thing. It's a good social experiment, if anything.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm like with games that I managed to find a hidden traitor mechanic in games that don't have one.
Yeah, you can just introduce your own hidden traitor mechanic.
I mean, I love this game. I remember playing it when you first got it. And, and the fact that I've not had a chance to play it again since was a bit frustrating. So the fact that it's on tabletop is highly tempting, considering, hopefully I want to be getting a copy of Tabletop very soon. My question for you is, how does it convert across? Because of course, while it's a tabletop version, it's not an actual official version, is it? It runs on simulator.
I would love an official version, but this is just a fan-made simulated version I played, and it played quite well. We had 5 people playing it, and it was quite a very close game. I was actually the traitor, which would shock you to know that it's the first time I've actually been the traitor. It is, honestly.
You're always a silo.
No, I'm just naturally shifty in all games anyway. There was one person that sussed me out straight from the beginning, but it was kind of ironic because even though you're the traitor, you've still got your own personal goal to do. And I had to basically fulfill that criteria before everyone died. But everything was going so badly. Everyone was so unlucky with the dice rolls. The zombies were winning all the fights. They were eating all the survivors. I had to actually help the good guys because they were dying too fast. So I actually, I ironically did hardly anything evil the entire game. So everyone thought I was really good because I was genuinely trying to keep them alive. And then I did a epic betrayal on literally the last turn of the game. Which was amazing. Not less amazing for everyone else.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to ask, because I've played this before, but I've never been the traitor.
No.
And I found this to be one of the most immensely difficult games.
It is hard. It is hard
that I've ever had to play as a standard player who's not the betrayer. It is so difficult.
It is. You really need everyone to work together. Like some people try and get some more resources, like food. It's always a concern. You've got to think about fuel. You often have like kind of moral decisions as well. Like you find a bunch of helpless survivors. Do you bring them in even though they can't actually help you? And you'll have to feed them, but if you leave them out in the winter to get eaten by zombies, it affects your morale. And if you lose all your morale, you die, or the colony.
I certainly feel it captures the zombie survival element of the game really well. I've not played many zombie apocalypse actual board games, and that's another reason why I love this so much, because I actually would really love to see a zombie card game, a living board game based on the show that we all know and probably love or probably don't love, which is The Walking Dead. But I've not seen or heard anything coming. Yeah, exactly. It's a mixed bag. Not everyone likes The Walking Dead purely because some of the latest series have gone on a bit much.
It does kind of. I find this game just replicate the environment of that, because the irony is everyone would probably survive if you could all work together properly, but because of the personal goals and human selfishness or whatever, no one gets on with each other, and that's why everything fails.
No one in the game is innately bad, but they all work against each other.
And you have to because even if the colony survives and you do your main objective, like for example one of them is find the cure, that kind of thing, if you don't do your personal objective, you still lose anyway. So it's kind of it's semi-cooperative to a degree.
It's definitely worth checking out, and for anyone who hasn't played it or hasn't got Tabletop Simulator, is it one you'd recommend?
Oh, most definitely. I checked out physical version and the tabletop if you're in the quarantine life.
Fantastic.
I'm sure there's other versions online. Probably there's other Tabletop Simulator software. But this is the only one I found so far, and it was really good. So
okay, fantastic.
I endorse this product. That's my
brilliant. There we go.
That's my game of the month.
And of course, Tabletop Simulator is available on Steam. So
it is indeed.
Do check it out, guys. I believe it's $7.99. Is it for a copy of Tabletop Simulator?
It varies, depends if there's a sale.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for the sales, guys. It's definitely worth one to check out.
I'll say it's 15 at retail.
15.
They've got sales on it so often. It's
brilliant. Right. Well, thanks for that, Mr. Dan. We'll move on and go on to our next game, which is, of course, when the software decides to catch up with me, is Ticket to Ride Japan by Days of Wonder. Gregor.
And Italy. Again,
Italy in the corner.
It's written in tiny font on the box, so you can barely see it, but it is "and Italy." That's sure you can see by the map.
Was Japan just not quite enough? They had to squeeze in another country right at the bottom of the.
Well, Ticket to Ride does this. In fact, I'll start from the beginning, right? So we all, like a couple, when we discussed this before the show, you guys all said that you'd played a version of Ticket to Ride, right? You'd either played the core game or Europe. We all broadly like it. Ticket to Ride was a good game. Yeah, agreed?
Agree, yes.
Generally speaking.
Cool. So how many expansions of Ticket to Ride do you think there are? Or how many versions of Ticket to Ride do you think there are?
About 8.
I'm going to say like 20.
I've made a list. So you've got the core game, you've got Europe. Those are the popular ones. There's 3 different Germanys for some reason. Well, I can probably tell you the reason. It's don't buy loads of board games. There's Nordic countries, rather than sales, Switzerland, the Netherlands, the UK, Pennsylvania gets its own one, France, the Old West, Poland, London, Amsterdam, New York, Asia, just the whole continent gets one, unfortunately. And then you've got Japan and Italy.
And that's before you start going into the minor expansions like the 1914 and
so the question that you'll be asking, hopefully, if you listen to that list, is what could you, because this is one of the most recent map packs, what could they possibly have invented that is new and exciting for Japan and Italy? What is it that's going to make this game unique for Japan and Italy? Japan. The Japan map is okay. So it's fairly standard Ticket to Ride, but you'll see that there's sort of, on that map, you'll see that there's a grey route that pretty much runs up the middle of Japan.
Yeah.
And that is the bullet train. So the bullet train,
like it.
anyone can build the bullet train route. So basically, the more you as a player contribute to the bullet train, the more bullet train points you get. And then, depending on how many players are in the game, you'll earn extra points at the end of the game if you were the person who contributed most to the bullet train. If you contribute the least, you'll lose points. And if you didn't contribute anything at all, you won't earn any points. So I do quite like that. I think that's quite an interesting little addition, and it's quite unlike anything else that I've played. However, flip the board, and you've got Italy, which genuinely to me feels like it's kind of an afterthought, because the idea behind the Italy board is that you've got Sardinia and Sicily on there. And as well as picking up cards as you can in the standard Ticket to Ride, picking up your carriage cards, your locomotives, picking up your tickets for your routes, you can also pick up ferry cards, and they allow you to build on the ferry routes that go across to Sicily and Sardinia. And that's kind of it. It's just another thing to pick up. The other additional way that you get points is each little region of Italy have the cities or towns have their unique shields that you will get extra points at the end of the game if you visited more unique shield cities in one route.
Okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's not exciting. It doesn't particularly add anything to the game that you haven't had in the previous 20 odd expansions. And the thing for me is that the things that I find interesting about playing other packs like Germany and Pennsylvania and all that sort of stuff is that usually it relates to a specific part of history or tells you something that's unique about that country. All this tells you is that Italy has some water between it and other bits of Italy. That's it. That's the unique addition to the game.
H2O.
The unique addition to the game is the Mediterranean Sea exists. That's kind of it. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Japan is pretty good. What it does lead to is that everyone kind of rushes for the bullet train first, because there's a low supply and a high demand. There's a lot of bullet train routes, but not enough bullet train carriages to fill all of those routes. So you can end up with basically you would prefer to use the bullet train for your route, but you can't, or it's not as easy to do so because there are no bullet train carriages left if you don't get there quick enough. With Italy, the ferry cards just sort of replenish. You're not going to run out of ferry routes until everyone has used all the ferry routes. And that is kind of it. So yeah, that's Ticket to Ride Japan and Italy. I feel like I should be fielding questions. I don't know why. It went on too long.
Well, I was going to say, I think you've answered this one already from Tinterwebs of how it's different to sort of the originals and what it brings that's new from Syria, which is clearly like the bullet train and the ferry bits. But I suppose from my experience of Europe, how is the ferry in Italy any different to the using locomotives as ferry cards in the Europe?
So you can basically the ferry cards you'll see, or you can just about see if you look very closely on that picture, that some of the ferry routes have little blue icons on the carriage. A ferry card is worth 2 of those little blue icons. So if for that one that we can sort of see in the middle of the map there, where it's got 4 blue icons on the route, you could use 2 ferry cards to build that, whereas you would need 4 locomotives to do so.
Right. But But basically, very minimal changes.
Yeah, I mean, is it just me, or is it Days of Wonder have basically got a license to print money because they've got fans that are loyal to the game that basically want all the expansions and be able to play in all these regions? And other than a fancy map, you're not really getting that much.
Gotta buy them
Kind
all.
of. Like I genuinely worry that like Ticket to Ride, which is a game that I actually enjoy, is going down the Monopoly route of having like there's going to be one for every city, and at Christmas you'll have Primark Ticket to Ride that goes around the different departments of Primark.
Oh wow! Don't give them ideas. They might be listening.
You pick up clearance tickets. Sorry, let me write this down. You pick up clearance tickets. I'm going to pitch it.
You're going to pitch it?
Yeah.
Dragon's Den.
Amazing. I quite like the original Ticket to Ride. I think it's a very good kind of entry-level game. I've got like a soft spot for it, I think. It's kind of one you could play with like the family or like people that aren't really used to modern board games as well. So, yeah. Shout out to the Ticket to Ride, even though I haven't touched any of the 50,000 expansions by the sound of it. So I don't know.
Well, that's a really good insight to it. Thanks, Gregor. And I'm sure while there are loyal fans to the game of the originals, I'm one of them. I like the original, but I do kind of get what you're getting at with regards to multiple expansions where they don't actually give that much value to the game. So. But don't let that turn you off, anyone that's watching. If you haven't played Ticket to Ride, we do like the Europe and the original game.
So there are literally 20 other varieties, other flavours of Ticket to Ride.
If you could only buy one copy... Oh, sorry, go ahead, George.
I was saying, so the solution is not... This is not a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's still a game of Ticket to Ride. But so if you're buying Ticket to Ride, pick which map you want and buy that one. Because that's the same game, whichever one you do.
I was going to ask if you could pick only one version of Ticket to Ride. Do you know which one you'd pick?
I would probably, of the ones I've played, which isn't all of them, I would probably pick UK and Pennsylvania, or I do like the sort of more vanilla Europe. I think that is also fine. Okay. But UK and Pennsylvania is quite interesting. Obviously, I'm kind of biased towards the UK. Pennsylvania has quite an interesting sort of stock market / you buy into shares into railroad companies type thing. Okay. So there's an element of like tycoon game in it as well, which I think is really interesting and unique in ways that this one, the Japan and Italy, kind of isn't. It did also get me thinking that you could have a Lincoln Ticket to Ride where the additional element is level crossings.
Yes.
Stopping all the traffic in Lincoln, yes, we really could.
Yeah, or you have to get like level crossing tickets in order to go across the level crossing.
I love it. Brilliant.
Write it down.
So there's one train that goes through the border and just stops everyone playing for about 20 minutes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. All right, fantastic. I think we've done that one justice. Shall we move on to our next game then? Shall we, guys and gals? Because we now have Talia. I believe you had a bit of a problem getting into the room, so I'm ever so sorry.
Yeah, my internet is so unstable. Well, it's the lockdown, I think.
Yeah, let's blame lockdown.
Sapping all your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, everyone's tuning into this stream. That's the problem.
Yeah.
My fans.
Brilliant. Well, look, we'll move on to our next game, which is George and Fury of Dracula. Come on, mate. Nomad Games are probably going to be watching us.
Yes, I say huge thank you to Nomad Games for the early access to this. I say I've been playing this game quite a lot in my spare time this week. So I've finally managed to get some time around to get into it. I've loved the original version of Fury of Dracula ever since I first watched an online game review on YouTube. I have been scouring the internet to get my own copy of it, and ever since then I've played hundreds of games of it, and I don't even think I'm exaggerating. So the rules aren't exactly anything new to me, which was probably a good thing because they've only just really got the get my words out. They've only just got the learn to play mode reasonably fixed in, which is part of the reason for the pushback in the release dates.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got now an official release date of the 12th of November, which is great.
Yes. Except it doesn't give them many time to fix some of the bugs that I've found.
I have said to them,
Yeah.
George, that where do they want you to submit your bugs and your rules that are missing, and they haven't got back to me yet. But I'm sure they will happily hear. So go ahead, George. What have you found, mate?
It's just a couple of things. I think Dan they did very kindly share as a second access code so we could test out the online multiplayer, which is something we're actually doing after this stream.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. As you've played 100 times, I've played once, so it should be.
This is why we're giving you the advantage of Dracula.
Yeah, fair enough. I need to be immortal to win.
Yeah.
Yes, this is like a hidden agenda type game, isn't it?
No. Hidden agenda.
Not really hidden agenda. Hidden movement.
Hidden movement.
Dracula moves around the board hidden, and the hunters so you've got the classic hunters from Bram Stoker's Dracula, so Lord Godalming, Mina Harker, Van Helsing, and Dr. Seward. So they're chasing you all around Europe, trying to find you and kill you before the...
It's very mean of them, I must say.
I know.
They're just beating up an old man as he travels around Europe. It's horrible.
So I think they've done a great job with the emulator. It is very good. I have minor nitpicks because guess what? I'm the rules lawyer.
Yeah, and you broke it, didn't you?
It's a minor break. The issue which we had is one that Dan had as well, and it feels more like that there is just an erroneous line of code that just requires a bit of resetting. It gums up sometimes, so you just need to force it to refresh itself by switching characters, and it normally fixes it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I found an issue where I got stuck and I couldn't move, which is like because as Dracula you can't backtrack. So I basically
you can't legally backtrack.
Yeah. So I got stuck in a corner. But apart from that, I was very impressed. So it's very kind of them to give us this early access. Because I think just to give my 2 cents, I think the presentation was amazing. It's really well polished.
Oh yeah.
Looks wise, and
I love the graphics on it. It looks great.
And once the bugs are fixed, I think it's got a lot of potential. I think
without a doubt. Maybe Nomad will pay attention, and they will maybe create some of our favorite board games electronically. Maybe Dead of Winter.
That'd be very ambitious.
Or Eclipse.
Or Eclipse.
Oh God.
Yes. Oh my God. Imagine Eclipse. That would be really cool. But anyway, we digress. But no, thanks for that, George. We're going to be doing a proper review of this, guys. So do keep an eye out for this, as well as we're going to be doing a live stream overplay, actual live play of this game. So keep an eye out for future streams. It should be a good one. And of course, it's being released on the 12th of November. So do check out nomadgames.co.uk as well for future updates. Fantastic.
So
anything else before we move on?
No, I think it puts us back to you, though, doesn't it now, then, Mr. Chris?
I think it does.
Your moment to shine.
Yes. So, as with everything, we all as geeks love a good Kickstarter campaign, and one that was completed some time ago because I now have my physical copy. Yes, it's here. So excited! I've actually got this. So,
if only we could actually have seen it.
I'm afraid it's invisible on your.
Oh, of course, because I'm presenting.
we can imagine it. We can imagine it. It's fun.
It's very nice. It's beautiful. It's an immersive board game. It's set at the dawn of a Viking era, and it actually pays really good homage to traditional Viking theories. It has some of the folklore. It even has the traditional design elements that they believe there are no horns on a Viking helmet, so there aren't any horns on any of the Viking helmet illustrations. It's very good, and it's quite historically accurate. It's one of these games where you control a settlement and you've got resource management. And of course, you can go off with your village of hoarders and marauders and fighters, during the seasons of the year, and gather resources and fight off armies of people. It's a great little resource management game. I really like it. Expansion of settlements. If you like these kind of games, it's definitely one for you. due to lockdown, I actually haven't had a chance to properly play it yet. But it is one we're going to try and play for proper rather than me just reading through the rules and trying to get a good understanding of it. It's one we want to be able to try and do as over a live stream, but we've got to figure out how to do all the player mechanics of it. But I'm sure it'll be feasible. It's for 2 to 4 players. What I like about it is it's about a 90 minutes to 120 minutes long to play, which isn't bad. The only downside is, of course, it's not really child friendly. It's 14, and up recommendation. One real kind of nice feature about it is the quality of the components. The components pieces are really nice. The plastic dice basically really do look like stone. They look great, and the coins have actually got an almost like a traditional 8th century look and feel around them. So all the components are really good quality, and I will say the playing cards are nice as well. They don't have that weird plasticky finish like Board Royale had. So I can imagine I will probably want to deck protect these cards just so they don't get damaged from spillage, because they've got that really nice satin finish. But some great little elements in the game. They actually, as part of their Kickstarter backer, which was really cool, they have asked people to come up with some flavor text and cards for the game. And the person who won got their card put in with the game, and it was one of the backer rewards. And it's great. And with the level of backing I got, I also got some of the sculpts of their little kind of character. Which is, yes, that's the one. You got it. He's just hidden there on the left-hand side of the screen, if you guys can see, with the black background. He's really cute. It's like a squirrel with antlers. It's adorable. As well as I got one of their Dora Dusk cherry blossom games as well. So it wasn't a bad backing extra. So I really can't complain. So if you haven't seen this, or if you haven't played this yet, because of course it intrigues you, do check it out. It does look really good. I really just enjoyed just reading the rule book for once. Actually, I'm not the rules lawyer, and that's your job, George. But I've been slowly making my way through it. And
your job's in trouble, George.
No, and it's not in trouble. George, interacts and understands these things better than me.
How complex do you think this game is on a scale of Ticket to Ride to Eclipse?
Oh, crikey. It's definitely between a tad below Eclipse, I would say.
Bit below Eclipse, okay.
There's lots of elements, there's lots of elements to it. There's not as many pieces as there is with an Eclipse. There's definitely less of them. It's not as complicated as Eclipse, but it's not as simple as Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride's a piece of cherry pie compared to comparison, really, to be completely honest. So yeah. But no.
If there are no horns on a Viking helmet, where do we even get that idea from?
I don't know. I
That's
don't know where it
came from the game, but since you brought it up.
Yeah. I don't actually know where that came from.
That come from like Asterix and Obelix, probably.
Probably, yeah. From characterization, yeah.
I'm just completely pulling that fact out of the air. That could be 100% wrong.
It sounded really convincing.
It sounded good.
It really did. So I'm going with that.
A year from now, it'll be in the next series of QI. I promise you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's Tetrahedron Games have done a really good job on it, and I actually really do want to play it, but it needs a group of people that are like this style of game, really, to be completely honest. And unfortunately, my wife doesn't like these kind of games, so I need to wait for the rules lawyer, or if we can do a live one to get a proper
social distance gaming.
Yeah, social distance gaming. So it is doable. You can do it. So,
FYI, according to the great state of Google, the Horned helmet was introduced via Opera.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Which was, of course, inspired by Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah.
Well, if that's wiki, we can add it. We can add it to the wiki. There we go. Brilliant.
We'll make our own history.
Yeah, we'll make our own history. It's great.
Anyway, it looks like a cool game, Chris, and I like the Viking theme. I like the Vikings TV show, so I'm very Viking.
I watched this Kickstarter come through as well, and it was only because Chris beat me to it that I didn't get a copy as well.
Yeah, we're trying to be smart with our kickback.
Kickbacking.
Kickbacking. Yes. Is that a new term?
We're on a roll today. We're on a roll.
So you might want to be careful with that one before the IRS can find you.
Yeah, I know. We're kickbacking all sorts, but we try not to duplicate it so we can actually share the games amongst the group, because having multiple copies of the same game within the groups that we play, is it really worth it?
Depends on the game.
Depends on the game, exactly. So, but if you haven't seen it, you can actually buy it from the Tetrahedron Games website, because obviously the Kickstarter is now finished. So, but be keeping an eye out for any more that do come through from these guys.
But yeah, it's probably worth noting that this was actually a second release done via Kickstarter. They had released the game previously, and again, they've just given it some more polish and some niceness to it.
Well, it's beautiful. The illustrations are great. Yeah. So wonderful. So it brings us to our special guests. So Tally, Dogodash, I can't believe how quickly you funded this game. It's nuts. You completed your funding in 11 hours.
I still can't believe it. It's like mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing. And you've still got 12 days to go.
Yes. It was like a very great surprise.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. It would be more like real if I was an experienced designer, and I would say, okay, so I made some games and people know me. So like I wouldn't be so insecure. But
bless. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Like I just tried.
Yeah.
It happened.
Fair play. I mean, what was your inspiration behind the game?
Well, the theme of the game is uniqueness, and the inspirations are the people that I know. Like all of the characters, like before Margarita brilliantly did like the illustrations, I did them on paper myself, and they were inspired by my friends and my family, and even the dogs and the cats and so on. Like I was thinking about things in my life, and then I made a game that is kind of like it's my first game, and I made it in a game jam. So my inspiration was like my life and my friends and what I like. A game I would like to play,
Yeah. For anyone out there who hasn't seen this game on Kickstarter or was watching this live stream for the first time, how would you explain your Dogodash game to them?
Dogo, like the game itself.
How would you explain the game to them?
It's a very fun and quick card game, and it's highly interactive. It goes very smoothly. In 10 minutes it's done. And if you just want to like get together with your family and your friends, you just sit and play a little bit of Dogodash. It has like a rock, paper, scissors mechanic, which is very easy to learn, but there are some plot twists, and the plot twists are mostly bringing the strategy to the game. So you can make combos, and you can also like use these combos and these special cards to make more points. And at the end of the game, like the player with the most points win. But it's so fast that you can make a league and say like, okay, let's see like best of 5.
Yeah.
or something like that. Like usually we play in more than one because it goes like smoothly, and I usually play with very competitive people like my husband.
Why is it always couples are the most competitive, between each other? It is with my wife.
Yeah, you always hear a
Keep going.
story of like people teaming up with their husbands and wives teaming up against other players. That doesn't happen.
No.
My-
No,
I
what
always
you
get
find
I
is
always
that
get
husbands
destroyed
and
when I play
wives
against
team
my.
up against the other sexes.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to beat your significant other.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think but since lockdown and since this crisis has hit the world, I think a lot of people are playing games, with their loved ones, and I could soon, when I was playing this with my wife, because you gave us the access to the print and play, which I think is available, but is that still available? Am I right?
Yep,
Yeah.
it is, and it's free.
Yeah.
Just enjoy your print and play.
Yeah, because the print and
Very
play,
cool.
because that's what I did. I printed it out and I put it in deck sleeves. And I tell you what, yes, it is a quick game. It has that whole rock paper scissors vibe. Whether you're a Big Bang Theory and like rock paper lizard Spock,
Lizard
Spock. Yeah, it's it follows that mechanic and it plays really well. And I tell you what, it is really quick and it's one of those coffee table games. That just you play really quickly and it fills that gap of when you want a quick to play game, and like you said, you can also do that in the whole league level to it as well. And I tell you what, I can imagine kids out there would also love this because it's so colorful. The illustrations are really good.
Yeah, I love the
Margarita's
presentation.
done a lovely job on
great.
the illustrations.
I love the tagline: "A card game for everyone, from kids to drunks." I think that's amazing.
Yes.
Kids to drunk people. I noticed that on the Kickstarter.
I'll drink
Yeah,
to that.
like
Definitely on the drunk people.
I put drunks, but I know that drunks can be like problematic. What I mean is drunk people, because actually when I was making the game, I wanted to make this easy that you can explain for a 5-year-old and a very drunk person, and they can
That
understand
makes a
and
lot
play
of
the game.
sense. That's
Yeah.
really good.
So that's the idea behind the
No, I absolutely love this.
Yeah, I love the branding and it looks really good.
I would say it's so light and quick that I mean I know that we are. I think most of us like our more like some good heavy games, but you always need a nice little filler or palate cleanser. And
Oh, there's always place for lighter, just fun games.
Yeah, there's always a place for them.
I think wasn't it you, Gregor, who turned the coins the amuse-bouche of games?
I don't think that was me, but I will take credit for it.
We'll put that down in
I don't have a
Wikipedia
problem
as you
with
did that phrase.
Yeah. I mean, and also, credits due where credits due. This game, while it was funded in 11 hours, you've also, become an SB Games finalist for this. Am I right?
Yeah, the SB Games is a Brazilian award for gaming. They are mostly focusing on digital games and VR and so on. But they have a board game category, and it's an honor for me because I heard about this award like in my life because I'm a games blogger in Brazil, and I was always talking about it. And then now that to see my game there, like I was like mind blown. I was in a group, a WhatsApp group with other Brazilian designers, and they said, congratulations, you're a finalist. And I was like, you're pranking me. Like, it's not true. And then I saw we were on the short list.
It's great. And I wish you all the success with it.
Thank you.
And the continued success, because if you aren't aware, if you haven't or come into this stream late, it's still got 12 days remaining, so you can still back it and get it in time. When do you foresee you coming to completion and hopefully shipping?
So we are on production now at this like very first moment. This week I sent the files to the printer so we can make a test print and see if all is on the place and so on. We are also going to work on the package a little bit because there are some regulations that we have to follow, making a game that is also for kids. And so we are going to do this. I hope that middle of January we have the copies here, and then we just post them like as soon as we get them. We
Fantastic.
are going to do ourselves the fulfillment. So
wow.
We are we are ready for it. But it's like we have a very nice community, so we are very transparent about the whole process. So all the steps, like if you back us, if you're following us on social media, like I'm sharing all my experience and also all my frustration, all my learnings as being a first game designer and first crowdfunding and so on. So I'm taking this opportunity to share what I'm living, what I'm going through, what I'm learning, and how the game is going on. And yeah, like middle of January is our prediction. And I hope that the corona situation gets under control, so we can have the shipping as fast as possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. And what I will say is I hope that you'll keep in contact with us and hopefully join us on the show maybe in future if you're coming up with any other future games.
Sure,
I do have
I
a quick
would love
question
to.
for you, Tally.
Yes.
So, wonderful little question through from my wife on private message, just asking, do you have any advice? I mean, what would be your top tip for any budding first-time Kickstarters out there?
My advice is first, test your game like as most as possible, so you can get the feeling who your target group is, what's the situation of your game. It's like if it's already a game, if it has like things to work on, so you can work on the game and put on the crowdfunding when it's like established or like when it's working. And also ask questions, ask people everywhere that you can, ask experienced people. I am very happy that I have the whole community helping me. I actually started getting in contact with many influencers and streamers and so on after Corona. So I would say the pandemic kind of helped me in this one. So the learning process got like a bit more accelerated because everyone was home and bored, and we were like talking about games and making games and testing each other games. So it was.
I noticed that like the it says on your Kickstarter that you started the game jam that you created it in was like August 2018. So presumably this has been like quite a long project for you. By the time it's all shipped out, it will be the end of like 2.5 years of work.
And very intense work. I was most of this time working full-time on Dogodash, mostly testing and making like building the community. But I've been working very hard on making this game work. I made bots like to test digitally to see the outcomes that were possible. So it is a game that is very thought through. It's not just I'm a newbie and I'm just going to try this. No, I work very hard. It's like my you know, when you are at the end of university and you have to make this final presentation for your so I feel like Dogodash is my final presentation for my game design university degree.
Well, like
did you prefer in all that testing? Did you prefer testing with kids or drunks?
Oh, I tested with a lot of kids and a lot of drunks, and I love them like very much and equally. But I would say that I have a bit of a preference to drunks because the cows, I love the cows. Like it's an element of it, but it's my personal preference. I love the cows, and with the kids at some point they were like separating and organizing by character type. Like they were they at some point they are kind of trading the cards.
Yeah.
And the drunks, they are like, oh, I'm gonna win this. Like they are like more loud and competitive.
Yeah, I'm loud. I'm a loud person anyway. But give me alcohol, and yeah, I'm even louder. So yeah.
Or sugar, Chris. You're not allowed that either.
Yeah, we're not going on to that on live stream.
I was saying, what happens at a sugar party?
Yeah, what have you
stays at
done
the
under
sugar
the
party.
influence of sugar?
You don't want to know. Trust me.
Seriously,
I'll tell you
Greg,
another time.
We need an after dark.
Off stream.
Yeah, we need an after dark episode. Yeah, but no, Tally, thank you so much for joining us, and I know you're going to stay on for our kind of next discussion. So
yes, I'm very looking forward.
yeah, so God forbid, anyone who hasn't yet come through with any questions, our moderator George will obviously keep an eye on that. So if any questions do come through, we know there's a bit of a delay, George will interrupt. So we'll crack on.
He will indeed.
Yes. So there was a couple of things that we did actually forget to kind of show, because you sent through some of these lovely images of some of the illustrations of the cards before I forget, which is really kind of cool. And of course, I'm a graphics animator at heart. That's what I studied. So when I realized that your logo was stop motion animation, I had to share this with everyone. So I'm going to quickly just play this so people can see.
Yeah. I love it.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah, we are
simple.
very big fans of like simple art. I say Margarita and I, we did a lot of stop motion for our Kickstarter video, and we did all ourselves. We had a friend making the cut of the video, but we did the script, we did the animations, we did the stop motions ourselves. So I'm very proud of the result.
Yeah, well, you're looking at, like I say, an animator from fresh out of university that didn't go into animation, and I have a soft spot for stop motion. Anything from Jason and the Argonauts to Wallace and Gromit, I love it. So when I realized it was, it's a nice touch. So from a designer, yeah, great. It's beautiful. It's lovely. Very simple.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So yes, guys, anyone who's not seen this and likes the look of this game, it's a great family game. It's a great all-rounder game. So do check it out on Kickstarter, because it is still running.
And it is only less than 16 quid in British pounds for a game.
Yes. So that's very good.
Absolute bargain.
Yep. So it brings us on to our discussion. So for anyone who's fans of the show and already watches will be aware that we talked about legacy games previously, because we had a Stonemaier game, which was, remind me,
Charterstone.
Charterstone, thank you very much, as a highlight done by Rebecca. And there was this discussion about legacy games and the fact that you rip up the cards, and I was just no, I paid good money for that. And Dan, who wasn't involved in that conversation, wanted to bring it back so he could pipe up and contribute. So Dan,
unfortunately I wasn't here at the last session, so all I could do was raise my fists in anger at the past. I was like, no, you must destroy the cards, Chris. It's part of the experience.
So for anyone out there who doesn't know what a legacy board game is, Dan, would you like to explain to them what a legacy board game is?
Okay, well, the main one I've played is really the Pandemic series. I've seen bits of the other ones, but that's the one I'm most familiar with. Essentially, a legacy game is a game, more or less a campaign, but you're only designed to play it once. So you go throughout the game and you make permanent changes to the board, to the cards, to the characters. If characters die, you rip them up. If I know I can see Chris cringing in the bottom, but I've got it's basically a game you can only play once. You have an experience rather than just a standalone game that you play repeatedly. It's basically you're part of a grand story, and then once it's over, you've just got the experience of what you've been through in the memories. And I think it's really good.
Sorry,
I just think that's a really good experience.
It's a bit like a D&D campaign.
Yeah, kind of.
But you don't level up.
Well, no, you can.
And if your character dies, you have to shred your character sheet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, more or less. It's like Pandemic Legacy. I mean, it just made everything so much more tense because everything was permanent. It's like if a city actually got destroyed, you'd rip its card up and it was gone forever. Yeah. It's just so much more at stake. Isn't just like a one-off game where you don't care how many cities are on fire by the end of it as long as you win.
We're not. By the way, we're not. advertising Pandemic here. Hence, there's other legacy games on screen.
Oh, I
It
know.
just happens to be one that's played, and also it's current with COVID.
Yes, I know. It is very
A
topical.
real life pandemic.
I'm the only one I can really talk about is Pandemic. It's the only one out of this list I've played myself. So yeah, that's my basis for kind of.
So has anyone on the show here played any of these others? I've heard of Gloomhaven, but I've not played it.
I've had
I've
mixed
not played
results.
Gloomhaven either.
It's meant to be good. Betrayal Legacy is meant to be good as well, but they're on my to-do list, I'm afraid.
I have played other legacy games that aren't pictured. So I've played Sharpstone, which you guys discussed last week. I have played Risk Legacy. So that's something that even your major Hasbro-owned franchises get involved in.
I'm sorry, Risk already breaks up families, and they decided to want to add a legacy version to that game.
So my issue with Risk Legacy was that the copy that we bought, they'd put kind of the point of legacy games is that when you reach certain stages in your campaign, you open certain boxes. And our game of Risk Legacy was ruined because the ladies and gentlemen at Hasbro put the wrong thing put the boxes in wrong, basically.
Oh, no.
So the content. So we opened a box as per the instructions, and we actually received something that wasn't supposed to happen until later in the game, and it basically broke the whole game when we were only about 4 games into a 12-game campaign.
Oh no,
that's annoying.
So legacy games have to be done properly.
Yes, they need.
Which means that you have to
testing
destroy
for
the
the
cards. Just so we're clear on that, you have to destroy things.
I'm glad I'm not the only one here. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah. Well, look, I likened legacy games to a game of Iron Man Magic of the Gathering. For anyone who isn't familiar to what
that is crazy.
Iron Man Magic of the Gathering is, basically, you have your magic deck, and when your land or your creatures or your spells are destroyed, you then rip them up. I've played it only once, and I had a deck full of commons and uncommons that I didn't mind destroying. But true Iron Man fans even have to kill off your planeswalkers, and they're, some of these are like.
And do you need a second
Higher
mortgage
rarity.
if you play that game?
Sorry?
And do you need a second mortgage if you play
only
Iron
if you want
Man?
to play it twice.
Well, it depends on your Magic collection, really.
So that sounds crazy to me, because Magic is just a short game, no like campaign or anything. But
see, you say that. Have you ever played Exit or one of the Exit board games?
I've got one of them, but I haven't managed to play it yet.
So they are kind of like a legacy game. They're basically supposed to be like an escape room in a box, is kind of the concept of it. But basically the idea behind that is that there are various things that you're on a time limit for completing the game, and there are various things that you will open and rip up as you uncover the mystery in the game, and they only cost you between about £10 to £16, depending on how cheap you can pick one up. But yeah, the only thing is that they are one use only. Once you've played it, once you've had that hour with the game, that's it. You've solved the puzzle. You can't really put it back together again.
It's a little bit like Time Stories then, but Time Stories isn't a legacy game.
Not explicitly, but you can. I would say Time Stories is one of those ones where you can take bonuses from one mission to the next, so it has some legacy elements to it.
But once you play through each story, you won't play through it again.
You wouldn't replay them again, realistically, because a lot of them are puzzle solving, so once you've solved it once, you know the solution.
And if you've got a memory like George, the rules lawyer, you remember everything. So with me, I'll probably get away with it with Time Stories. And
you can just play the same story. Repeat.
Yeah. For very short.
Infinite value for money.
But yeah, I say, given the massive polarizing issue that it is about destroying cards, I have put a poll up on the live stream so our audience can chip in with their thoughts too. I mean,
one of the criticisms I hear is that I've paid for this game. What about value for money? What if I never get to replay it again?
Who do you hear that from?
But I've got to say, about Pandemic again. I mean, we played that game about 16 times for the whole story, because if you fail the month, you have to play it again. And how many board games have you played 16 times already? Overall.
most
true.
of mine because I'm picky about which games I play.
That's very true. But if you have a huge collection, you probably
like Dan, because you can see them behind him.
yeah.
But also, the thing with Pandemic Legacy is that those 16 games are different every time. You have different objectives pretty much every month.
Yes,
you have a different number of objectives. You have different characters to play with.
And that is the advantage.
Different problems.
Yeah. And at the end of it, you get a board you can play with still. In most of them, anyway. At least in Pandemic.
Right.
Though I framed mine just as a memory because I'm that much of it.
I like that solution, Dan.
Yeah, that is a great solution to it, and I like that. But you know, that discussion is going to have to come to an end. Do you feel you got your
I
input
vented my rage. Thank you for letting me have my 2 cents there.
Yeah, no, that's all good. But like I say, guys, you know, we're always welcome to anyone, you know, being involved with the show. So if you do have any comments, or if you're watching this back and you want to put some comments on the Facebook, we all check the Facebook feed on our streams and our videos. So if you do watch it back later and you've got any questions, do drop them in and we will respond. But
I look forward to the next month of our Legacy Games discussion.
Yeah. So what we've got coming up? Well, the next show is on the 4th of December, guys, at the same usual time at 8 p.m. GMT. Okay. Our guest next month is going to be Nikita from Atkin Games, and she's
she's so sweet. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. And we're going to be talking to her about her next project, which is going to be Malum Hortus. So sure, we'll have some images of the game, and we'll be chatting to her about that project. So again, I'd like to take the opportunity to say thank you, Tali.
Yes, thank you very much
for joining us on the show. It's been lovely having you, and it's been lovely talking with you. So do keep in contact with us and let us know how it goes. But thank you so much from everyone at Diary of a Lincoln Geek.
And don't forget that to go and back her Kickstarter. It is awesome. It is well worth it. And there is a link in the comments.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. So again, everyone from DOALG.co.uk, we love you all, and follow us on social media and Twitter, as well as Instagram. But of course, if you do have enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends, and of course, like and subscribe. Again, thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you again next month.
Bye.
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 Bye.